And we're live.
And we're live. Hello, Courtney. So nice to see you today.
Always a pleasure.
I've been looking forward to this with a little bit of fear and excitement. I guess that's called vulnerability.
All right.
that's
You
exact,
know,
that's
I was
exactly the place I need to be right now.
I was so excited when you approached me about this, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Well,
Uh,
I'm so glad. It seemed very appropriate since we've been learning all about ourselves and what we're here to do through this, just a little before and certainly during this pandemic. And what I'd like to let's give everybody another minute to kind of get online, because what I'd like to always do is begin by creating some heart space and doing a little meditation. Um, so if you would, for your listening and for you, Courtney, as well, and myself, because I need to get in some heart space, get out of my head, and let's let go of some of my fear and anxiety about this.
Someone said we were frozen, but we might just be frozen to them.
Let's see here. Yeah, give everything a little bit of a chance. Let's see,
Are we frozen to anybody else? Okay. Well, we'll just keep going.
I did see something that says, please make this shareable and open. There's no way to send or share this. I think you're frozen. It's okay. I see y'all fine. Uh,
Okay, good. We're back.
I think anybody can go to the Are we open? Did we toggle over to public today for this event? Could you do that?
No, this is just in the group.
Okay. So you have to be invited to that. Okay. We'll publish it publicly later. All right. Very, very good. So let's just get quiet for a moment and begin to close your eyes. And we're going to go into a little bit of take a few minutes to get into what I call heart space, to get out of our heads. And one of the ways, just close and become aware of that presence within you, that life force presence that we all have and that's acceptable to everyone, particularly when we can let go of the narratives in our head, the thoughts and the beliefs and the opinions. And one way to kind of short circuit that is to begin to become aware of just the presence of your hands. Just feel what's it like to be inside your hands in the moment. And feel the energy, feel the life force within your hands. And now bring your awareness to that life force within your toes and in your feet. What is it like to be your feet today? Wiggle your toes just to know you have power, you have life. And then begin to bring the connection between your toes and your feet up through your body, through your butt in the chair, and into your heart, into your torso, and into your hands. And just become aware of the presence of life within you. Become aware of the third eye that placed in your forehead, just above and between your real eyes, and just allow it to open up a little bit and open your head to open up energetically, and let life and light to flow into you through your head, down into your heart. And as it does, invite it to bring with it all thoughts, opinions, beliefs you have about this world right now, all thoughts, opinions you have about yourself, about me, this meeting. Invite them all in with an open heart and let them all go. Thank them, thank your head and your mind for all the work it's been doing for the last, as long as you've been living, especially lately as we've been all trying to figure this coronavirus out. Just let it all go, because we don't know. Let go of the need to know, the control over everything, and allow yourself to fall back into the love of not knowing. The relief and the release of not knowing, because you don't know and you don't need to know. There's a power greater than us that's running this show, and we don't know any of it, and it's okay. None of us know. And if thoughts come up, let them come up. And before we come back and get started, I want to ask you to think of this about 3 or 4 things that are delightful to you right now. What are some of the things you're hearing? Maybe I'm hearing the birds outside. Maybe I'm sitting on my porch for the first time in a while working out here because the weather is so delightful today. All the spring flowers are in bloom. Life is unfolding this spring in so many magnificent ways. When you're ready, come back into the space and let's get started with this workshop today.
Mm-hmm. All right. I wanted to start with something we found this morning from Eckhart Tolle that speaks about forgiveness. It says, "It seems that most people need to experience a great deal of suffering before they will relinquish resistance and accept, before they will forgive. As soon as they do, one of the greatest miracles happens, the awakening of being consciousness through what appears as evil, the transmutation of suffering into inner peace. The ultimate effect of all the evil and suffering in the world is that it will force humans into realizing who they are beyond name and form. Thus, what we perceive as evil from our limited perspective is actually part of the higher good that has no opposite. This, however, does not become true for you except through forgiveness. Until that happens, evil has not been redeemed and therefore remains evil. Through forgiveness, which essentially means recognizing the insubstantiality of the past and allowing the present moment to be as it is, the miracle of transformation happens not only within, but also without. A silent space of intense presence arises both in you and around you. Whoever or whatever enters that field of consciousness will be affected by it, sometimes visibly and immediately, sometimes at deeper levels with visible changes appearing at a later time. You dissolve discord, heal pain, dispel unconsciousness without doing anything, simply by being and holding that frequency of intense presence."
Thank you. I thought that was just really helpful this morning too. Before I want to tell you all the story how I got here. Before we do, I just want to invite anyone that's listening to join us. And by going, you can, if you haven't already, you can go to the Financial Mystic Sanctuary file cabinet and you can download a copy of the worksheet that I'm going to be going through. Let me see if I can get it across the screen correctly. So while I'm telling this story, I won't be offended if you go and grab yourself a copy of it, download it, because you might want to go. You don't have to forgive the president. You may not have anything to forgive the president. You might be really happy with the president. That's your choice. But I can guarantee you that there is probably somebody, it could be your spouse, that you're probably a little resentful for right now because you've been living in close quarters. And so my invitation is to take an opportunity to practice and learn this very transformational process, or you're welcome to just sit and watch us do it, and then you can do it later with someone. It's not that hard to learn. It's really pretty straightforward if you just follow the steps. So I want to tell you how I got here. So last Thursday, I believe it was Thursday, maybe it's been Wednesday, I was looking on Facebook, and all of a sudden I ran across somebody's feed, and it had the very unattractive picture of a very angry president. And it said, "This man will go down in history as the most hated president in the history of the United States." Now, I'm no fan of the president, but I'll tell you something. I thought, no, God, I hope not. I hope that when this has come over, we don't even understand the concept of hate. Hate is an ego construction. It comes from a feeling of not enough, and we're not getting our needs. We blame. It's all drama. None of it's true. And we've been living under that spell of the egoic shadow spell that produces hate since the beginning of man. And I'm exhausted. So I wrote back to the guy and I said, wouldn't it be better if this guy was the most forgiven president in the history of the United States? What a shift that would be in consciousness. when this is all over, he was the most forgiven man, because I'm aware through the work I do of the power, the transformative power of forgiveness. And as I finished writing that quick email to him, I thought, wow, what if we did this ourselves? What if I did this myself? And then I thought further, what if I did this myself and then brought it to you publicly? So I spoke to Courtney and said, why don't we do this on Saturday? Why don't we have an actual live recording of doing this, so that people can learn these transformational this transformational process, because it is truly transformational. It will change. I know that I'm a little scared right now. I'm feeling very vulnerable because I'm aware of what this process is about. And I'm going to have to go deep and be honest with myself in a few minutes and share that with you. And it feels a little vulnerable, I'll be honest with you. So I appreciate you coming and supporting me in doing this. And I'm doing it, one, for myself, because I want to grow. But I'm also doing it. Somebody asked me, where do I get the sheet? You get the sheet in the Financial Mystic Sanctuary filing cabinet. And if you can't,
it's in both groups. Mm-hmm.
And if you can't see it there, you can go to radicalforgiveness.com. This is all courtesy of Colin Tipping. You can go to his website and you can download it for free. He's got lots of free resources. So I encourage you to go download the worksheet and get familiar with it. It's a great tool. Great tool. But also, as I was preparing for this, I also made, as a Christian contemplative, and mystic, I also follow and listen truthfully to the teachings of Jesus as a teacher of non-duality, and more specifically, realized he was a leader of nonviolent resistance against the empire. And his instructions are pretty straightforward. One, instructions on how to enter what he called the kingdom of heaven, which is not a place, it's a higher level of consciousness. It's what Buddha calls enlightenment. Jesus was a teacher of how to become enlightened. And from the cross, in his agony, he screamed out, hollered out, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Father, forgive them. Those are pretty clear instructions on what we're to do right now. And you know if you're carrying a resentment against somebody. And the instructions are to move up into that higher level of consciousness individually and collectively. We have to have the courage to forgive those people, for they do not know what they're doing. And I don't mean this ugly, but the president and other people in power are coming from ignorance. They're behaving out of shadow. And yes, that makes me angrier than hell. And you're going to find out just how angry I am in a few minutes, because I get a chance to share my story in a second. And you're going to see that this is someone that I'm looking forward to getting out of me. So I have a tremendous amount of anger and rage about the president. So, and again, forgiveness is not about the person. I'm not condoning anything he's doing. Get me clear here. This is for me. When you go through forgiveness, it's not about the person you're forgiving. He doesn't even know I'm doing this.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with the other person. It's really looking at where you're feeling a victim, where you're feeling fear, where you're feeling anger or blame towards anyone, and giving into and letting go and coming into peace and love and acceptance, so that those things don't affect you.
Yes. It's all for the person doing the forgiveness. Mm-hmm. So I think we're about ready. What do you think, Courtney? You ready to get started with this thing? So just let's go. All right.
So if we're just going to start at the top. And so Martin, you can go ahead and date it.
Okay.
Call this worksheet 1.
Today is 4.
You might have multiple of these worksheets.
I've got a bunch of them too. 4. We're going to call this the first one on the president. Maybe
Number 1.
4.
And whoever you're upset about, which we're going to say Trump.
I'm upset with Trump. I'm going to call Trump the president.
But feel free as you're following along, to put whatever name there, who you're working through, whether it's Trump or somebody else.
Right. So I am doing this work today around Trump the president. I'm just going to use the word Trump throughout this thing.
Yeah. Okay. And the first part of this worksheet is really about telling the story. And this is telling the story from the victim's standpoint. So, Martin, you can go ahead and read number 1.
Okay. The situation around which I have an upset is, or was, it is not, it wasn't, it is current, is the following. And you're going to give me about 5 minutes to sit down and write what this is about.
Yes, you can do a situation. Someone asked about a situation. You can do a situation. It doesn't have to be a person.
Could be a situation, could be an institution, could be anything you're upset with.
Mm-hmm. So we'll give you time to fill that out, and then definitely think about this from the victim standpoint of where are you being a victim in this story. I'm going to do it too.
Go ahead.
Mhm. All right, just let me know when you're done.
I could write a book on it.
Or maybe I should say, start wrapping it up. Wrap up those thoughts.
Okay, I can go now.
All right.
The situation which I'm upset with is basically the biggest thing he's done is lie. His lying and his ignorance and his and because he's afraid that if this thing happened, I guess he'd ruin his chances to be president. So it's always about him. Everything he comes out of his mouth is a lie to protect himself, and he's hired to protect us. And there are going to be people who are going to die. There are going to be people who are going to die. He has known about this thing for months and has not only chosen to do nothing, but he's also lied about it as it began to surface. And so people could have put things into action much sooner. So people are going to die unnecessarily. That makes me angry that people are going to die. Families are going to lose their loved ones just because he did not want to be transparent. And that is infuriating to me. And he's still lying. He goes on television now and he lies. He lies about the lies he told yesterday. It's just one lie. I mean, who do we listen to? The CDC? He's got all the information he needs. He could be so much more powerful. He just told us the truth, but why does he have to lie about all this? He's not only used the powers of his office to help, he's not used any of his powers as the president to help the situation. He could have enacted the Defense Wartime, whatever that act is, months ago. And we could have had ventilators on production a month or two ago. This is not a secret to the government and to the scientists that this was coming. He just chose not. And so people are going to die. Lies, and more lies. And he just doesn't care. And he continues to do it. And he is probably the most ignorant, narcissistic jerk I have ever watched on television.
All right. Get it out, Martin.
He's sick.
Get it out.
Sick, man. He's just sick. And it goes back. I'm going to tell you, my husband is Puerto Rican, and it goes back to Hurricane Katrina. That's when I got started with this anger at this man. When almost 3,000 people died unnecessary on that island because of lack of response. That island is 100. That's a simple thing. We should have learned then how incompetent the asshole is. Excuse the word. But he truly is incompetent. And there are 3,000 people who died on that island unnecessarily because we had no response. I was a first responder after 9/11. I know how fast the federal government can mobilize. We could have covered that whole island, 100 miles from top to bottom in 48 hours. And all those people could have been taken off and taken care of and moved to a rescue ship somewhere. We have the capability, and we have the capability to take this, to not let this happen as well. He chose not to pay attention for fear it would hurt his, I guess, presidency. But you know what, dude? You cannot gaslight a virus. So here we all are stuck with your incompetency and ignorance. And people are going to die from it. And that makes me angry. Friends of mine have already died from it. Thank you.
Okay. That was good.
You're lying about this is what's got me, basically what's got me upset.
Okay. Yeah. So read number 2.
Confronting. I am upset with you, Trump, because you lied. You won't tell us the truth. That's just it. I'm upset because you lie. You lie and you lie and you lie when the truth would be better. You just cannot tell the truth. And we need someone, we need a leader who can tell the truth. And I am so angry with you. I am enraged with you because you lie. You just lie.
Okay.
The number 2 is because of what you did, I feel angry. I feel sad underneath the anger. I feel sad people are going to die. But I am outraged. I'm furious. And I also feel shame. I feel shame for us as a people that we can't do better than this. So I feel shame of our behavior. I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of our president. I feel shame. I think that's it. I think if you get past the anger, it's shame. So that's what's going on for me about this.
Okay. So now we're going to switch over to feeling our feelings, which I know we're already feeling it.
I am feeling it.
So it's not going to be too hard. So go ahead to number 3.
Okay, number 3 states, I lovingly recognize and accept my feelings and judge them no more. I'm entitled to my feelings. And it asks me if I'm willing, open, skeptical, and unwilling. I'm willing to accept my feelings and judge them. I am entitled. I am willing to accept
Or not judge them, but you're accepting them. Yeah,
they're mine.
they are.
Number 4 says, I own my feelings and no one can make me feel anything. My feelings are a reflection of how I see the situation. Am I willing, open, skeptical, or unwilling? I am willing. And then it goes on to number 5, and it says, my discomfort was my signal that I was withholding love from myself and Trump by judging, holding expectations, wanting Trump to change, and seeing Trump as less than perfect. List the judgments, expectations, and behaviors that indicate that you're wanting him. I want him to tell the truth. I want him to be honest.
Okay.
I want him to stop lying. You know, I want him to lead it. I want him to tell the truth.
So the key to this part here is really looking to see how many of these judgments and expectations you're making about yourself.
Well, I've lied before in my lifetime. I've lied to manipulate to get my own way. I don't think I've ever lied in positions of this kind of leadership, but I certainly lied, and I certainly have hurt people, and I've certainly done things that I don't feel particularly proud of, particularly when I've been in fear and living in shadow. But really, the behaviors that I want him to change is to be honest with us, and that's the truth. I want honesty. I want transparency. And I want to stop the lying and the selfishness. And that's what I want.
So where are you not being honest with yourself?
It's a good question. Where am I not being honest with myself? I think the biggest piece for me right now that comes up in that question is I'm not honest with myself when I won't let go of control. You know, I think I can control this. I think there's a part of me that wants to be the rescuer. I see this, and I'm not being honest with myself when I'm not in one of those corners of what I call the drama triangle. And those 3 corners are victim, perpetrator, or rescuer. There's a drama going on, and there's a part of me that thinks somehow I'm going to save the day. Like when President Trump was made president, I was going to get on that Facebook and I was going to save the day. And even today, as I'm a fairly spiritually enlightened being, I'm grateful for that, is there's a part of me that wants to almost manipulate my spiritual superiority in order to control the situation. Wow. They just came, you know.
Yeah. And where are you being a victim? Where are you being a victim here?
I'm being a victim of I'm being a victim in this case of being lied to. I'm being a victim of his incompetence. I'm being a victim of I'm not a victim of the virus. I'm a victim I don't think that's something to be a victim of. I'm a victim of being victimized by having a leader who won't lead. I feel a victim of the fact that, and I'm also feel a victim, and I'm angry with the people who support him. I mean, because I think they have a certain responsibility to dig through. I don't care whether you believe what he support him or you don't support him. I think if you're not listening to the facts, you're not listening to the truth, then I'm angry with you and I feel a victim of your own incompetence, your ignorance. Because I'm not saying what's right or wrong, but I'm saying we ought to all be educated.
Right.
So
And I feel like you need to go back to control a little bit and look at where you're being a victim of control with Trump.
With Trump, where am I a victim of control? What he triggers in me is my own narcissistic desire for control and power.
Mm-hmm.
I want the control. I want to be doing his job because I can do it better.
Mm-hmm. There's the ego.
There is it. Is that I want to be doing it because I would be doing it better.
Right.
I would be listening to and what I mean by that is I'd be listening to the scientists. So, yeah. And I'd be doing what they told me to do, and I would have done it years ago. I mean, months ago. So that's for me. That's what I would be doing. I would have been. I love that. I love families engaged in our daily workshop. This is fantastic, Courtney. But that's it. I want to be the one. I want to be running this show. I want to be the one saving it. I could save us. That's probably it. That would be the honest statement. I want to be in control, and I want to be in power.
That was me not being in control with my kids.
Well, as I'm saying, we don't control anything, even when I'm in the room and anything like that.
Right. Because I feel like control is a big thing here because we feel the need over and over to control our situation, and we feel like we need to control other people and be in control of what the president's doing. We feel like there's control, or that the president has control over our life.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a very good thing because what I'm doing here is I'm giving, as a victim, I'm giving up my power to him because I'm expecting a different kind of leader and I'm not getting that. So I've given up my power to him and to his behavior.
Why do you need a president to tell you how to feel or what to do? Or
I need a president. I don't want a president to tell me how I feel or how to do. I want a president that's going to lead the country, and from a place of love. That's basically what I want. But I don't get what I want. But
why do you feel that you need that?
Because the world doesn't feel very safe without it. It feels.
What is safety?
Safety is security that I'm going to be okay, that my family is being protected, that my rights are being protected right now. I wonder if I'm curious about things that he might be doing to take away some of my rights as a human being.
So do you need somebody outside of you to be safe and secure?
Probably not really. Probably not really. Not really.
All right.
Good, because now we're going to collapse this story. I see. Good.
Let's collapse it.
All right. I now realize that in order to feel this experience more deeply, my soul has encouraged me to create a bigger story out of the event or situation that it actually seemed to warrant considering just the facts. The purpose having been served, I can now release the energy surrounding my story by separating the facts from the interpretations I have made about it. List the main interpretations and circle the level of emotion and attachment you have around each one now. Well, the fact is that the biggest one is that he doesn't care about us. The president doesn't care.
I'd say that's pretty high emotion.
And
what do you think?
The president doesn't care. Trump doesn't care as the president. He's the same right now, and so I'm going to say I still have a pretty medium level of emotion around that. I don't feel like he cares about us right now. I'm a little less charged about it from our conversation than I was. So thank you about that. and I guess the real question is, it doesn't matter that he doesn't care. I guess
Yeah.
that's what's. I'm going to move it all down to a low, because you know what? It doesn't matter that he doesn't care about us.
Right.
I think he should care about us, but that's my story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all my story. So the fact that the president doesn't care about us, the fact that let's see here, that he has. I guess that's the biggest one for me. The president doesn't care, and that he is. Yeah, that's the biggest one I have right now. I don't want to make it any bigger than it needs to be. That's the biggest one, that he just doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's coming down. That's the emotional component for me. That's the most. I don't know of anything else right at the moment that's coming up that I'm making up about him. I'll say that not only doesn't care, he cares only about himself.
Yeah.
He's narcissistic. I'm going to put that.
Mm-hmm.
People are just so darn narcissistic. You know, the only person they care about is themselves, and that's all they are. No matter what, anything anybody asks him, it's always about he's defending himself, and that just, you know, he only cares about himself. And if I think about that a little bit further, and discuss it, that's going down to a low, but that would be that's the part of the story that's probably the most, is about his level of care for himself, and who he cares about most. He's hired to care about people, but he cares about himself.
Yeah. I think he actually represents the ego to you. Like he's the full representation of the ego.
He is the full representation of a very, very shadow ego person. He's a person.
He may be representing ego in yourself.
Of course he does. Oh, absolutely.
That you
yeah, I agree. He is definitely.
That you were really working hard to kill off and let go of. So he's really that's where you're mirroring here, is that.
You say that because before all this happened, right after he was elected president, and I was in panic. I was in terror about this. And I remember in that darkness, I finally came and looked in the mirror one day, and I saw Trump looking back.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to myself, wow, everything that I despise in this man, I have it. Mm-hmm. I can lie, I can manipulate. I have put myself before others to protect me and my family. I have not told the truth. I have not cared about others more than I care about myself. I have conned people. I've done everything that I didn't like about him. I have that. But I'll say something about that, Courtney, is that once I realized that I have those and he was a mirror for me, then I realized that I was part of the problem now. I helped create whatever's happening right now. I helped create it. And if I take responsibility for that's the gift in that mirroring. If I could take responsibility for that, own that part of me that I didn't like too much, then I'm able to become and almost honored to and have a responsibility to take part in the solving in the solution and finding the problem and solving the problem, which is why I'm doing this right now, is because I know from this spiritual truth of forgiveness, seeing in the mirror and seeing those parts of myself, those shadow parts that I don't like, and learning to love and accept those parts. If we can learn to love and accept the president, Trump, just the way he is, something's going to shift.
Well, and it's loving and accepting Martin.
Exactly.
Martin and Martin's ego for what it is. Exactly. And realizing that this is a human experience, and that ego is a part of us, and nothing is good or bad, it just is. And that, you know, you've gone through this awakening process, and, you know, I get the same way, where I feel like, you know, I don't want any of those negative or lower level emotions. I don't want to even associate with them, but you have to accept them and love those parts of you. You know, just like we gotta love Trump.
Exactly. As we learn to love those those shadow parts of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
they dissolve.
Yeah.
And what we're left with, like Eckhart Tolle, I think, says, who would you be without your story?
Mm-hmm.
Who would I be without my story?
Right.
So yeah, thank you.
But
So
this is truly like the death of your ego,
yeah, of course it is.
and it's fighting, and it's like, no, like I can see it,
No, it doesn't. It does not want to die. That's my
That's the
that
battle,
is always, that's the resistance to doing the forgiveness worksheet. Is I want to hold on to these old mean
Right.
stories, and I want to hold on to my hate.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So go over to continuing to collapse. Now we're going to continue to collapse the story. Number 7 says core negative beliefs. Either I'm made up from this story or which drove the story.
Yeah.
Check all that applies. Well, one of them is I'll never be enough. I'll check that one because that's true. It's not safe for me. That's true.
That's definitely true.
I'm always last or left out. That doesn't. People always abandon me. That can apply. It's not safe to speak out. I don't feel that too much. I should have been a boy or a girl. I don't feel that too much. No matter how hard I try, it's never enough. That can come up. Anything that has the word not enough in it is going to be part of the story. Life is not fair. That doesn't feel too bad, too much to me right now. It's not good to be powerful, successful, or outgoing. I don't feel that one. I'm unlovable. That always comes up for me. That's it. And I guess the biggest one for me, it's I'll never be enough and I'm unlovable. I'm unlovable. That's the one. It comes down because when I don't feel like people are caring for me and being honest with me, I don't feel like they love me. That's the big thing for me to own right now in that list. Now moving on to opening to a reframe. Number 8 says, I now realize that my soul encouraged me to form these beliefs in order to magnify my sense of separation so I could feel it more deeply for my spiritual growth. As I now begin to remember the truth of who I am, I give myself permission to let them go and now send love and gratitude to myself and Trupp for creating this growth experience. Am I willing, open, and skeptical and unwilling? Yeah, I'm willing. I'm willing to let them go. I'm more than willing to let them go.
And then any similar stories and feeling experience.
Noticing a pattern and seeing the perception in it. I
Burrell.
recognize that my spiritual intelligence has created stories in the past that are similar in circumstances and feelings to this one in order to magnify the emotional experience of separation that my soul wanted. I see this evidence that even though I don't know why or how, my soul has created this particular situation too, in order that I learn and grow. List similar stories and feeling experiences and note the common elements. And I would say that's the common element of me growing up with my father.
Yeah.
My father, he would lie. He would just distort the truth all the time. And another thing that they would do is that I was careful not to let them know what I really liked and cared about because I was afraid they might take it away. So that's how I learned to lie. And that's how I learned to lie from them. So I didn't tell them the truth because if I told them the truth, they might take something away from me. So this is a pattern. Lying is a big behavior that really gets to my core.
I'd say even as kids we look to our parents as being that power figure and that they have control over us, and that Trump might be more kind of the same of that as well, of that he has some power over you, that he can make these decisions, he can take your rights away, just like your parents could make decisions for you.
Right.
That you feel that he can really that he has this power over you.
Yeah, if I give it to him, and that's what it's about. I did give it to him. And we don't have a choice as children. We pretty much have to. We're at the mercy of our parents. I had pretty loving parents for the most part, I think they were loving parents, but I think they like any other parents did things. I mean, particularly around money, they were never honest with my father. Particularly, my father wasn't just dishonest with me about money. He was dishonest with my mother and everybody else, and he wasn't honest with himself about money. So he couldn't be honest with anybody else. So this idea of lying and then also Trump and money go hand in hand. So it's clear that Trump and his behavior and his lying and his narcissistic behavior around money is very reminiscent of what the messages that I got from my father. I don't want to say publicly that my father was like Donald Trump, because he wasn't. But there are very similar messages I got from him. And I think it was from his own fear and his own shadow of trying to provide for kids and his own fears around money and stuff like that. So I know where it comes from.
Right. So it may be that there needs to be more forgiveness around your father to have forgiveness around Trump.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm going to stick with Trump for right now.
Yeah.
I've done plenty of work with my father.
All right, where are we? All right.
We just finished number 9, and I'm certainly willing, and I very clearly recognize these as what they are. And now we're going to move towards the reframing, and I'll read out number 10. I now realize that I get upset only when someone resonates in me those parts of me that I have disowned, denied, repressed, and then projected onto them. I see now the truth in the adage, if you spot it, you got it. It's me in the mirror. Absolutely. I mean, I just spoke about seeing Trump in the mirror. I mean, I'm willing to accept that. Most likely. Yeah. And Trump, put this in here, is reflecting what I need to love and accept in myself. Absolutely. That's what we talked about. Trump is reflecting exactly what I need to learn, the parts of me that get afraid and need to protect myself. And I'll do anything, lie, cheat, steal, make fun of, whatever I can to divert the way from me to protect myself. So yeah, thank you, Trump, for this gift. Can't believe I'm saying this. I am now willing to take back. I am now willing to take back the projection and own it as part of my shadow. I love and accept this part of me. Yeah, I do love and accept that part of me. Even though I may not understand it all, I now realize that you and I have been receiving exactly what we each had subconsciously chosen, and we're doing a dance with and for each other to bring us to a state of awakened consciousness. Absolutely, I get that. There's some value in being having years of being a contemplative. These are all principles that I completely agree. It just feels a little weird when I get to use them on myself.
You're doing great.
I'm doing it.
Just here for the encouragement.
I'm doing it, man. Courtney, this is interesting. I now realize that nothing you, Trump, have done is either right or wrong. I'm now able to release the need to blame you or anyone else. I release the need to be right about this, and I am willing to see the perfection in the situation just as it is. Wow.
Yeah, think about that one.
Yeah, if I let go of the narrative and open my heart actually opens up with love and acceptance of everything that's happening right now.
Right. This isn't about right or wrong.
Not about right or wrong. It's about this what's happening, and it's about learning to love and accept it. And my mission in the world is to raise awareness by showing up with love and gratitude in the moment. And this is what this is teaching me, that I need to show up in even this moment, more particularly this moment, with love, and gratitude, and acceptance. So, yeah, I'm willing.
Because all of your issues with Trump are past and present. I mean, past and future. And you come into the present.
Right. It's what I'm making up about him from my past experiences. My father. Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm willing to see that for whatever reason, my mission or soul contract included having experiences like this, and that you, Trump, and I may have agreed to this dance with or for each other in this lifetime. It is for the highest good for both of us. I now release you and myself from this contract. I am so ready to release you and me from this contract and move forward and let go of all my projections on you. I am more than
about if Trump was really Trump really represents the ego. Think about this in the time that we're going through right now, of that we're really confronting our egos during this transformation.
absolutely, yes. All of us are being asked to confront our egos right now.
Right. This is almost like a world level ego death. I love it.
Yeah, we're all doing it, and that's why we're doing this. If I can do it myself, I can let go of this, and then if other people watching, and we can create a movement where everybody's confronting their egos, and and I'll break that down for me in the fact that our egos are addicted to fear.
Yes.
And that's what this is really about. It's really about giving up our individual and our collective addiction to fear, because that's what the ego is. It is a fear-driven part of us that wants to control. And you're exactly right. This is an opportunity to use him as a bouncing board to project all that junk onto, to let go of it. So I am going to say, the next one says, I release from my consciousness all feelings of, I'm going to go back and get them again back from page 1, whatever.
It's the ego also needs to be right. It's the ego that wants to be right.
And I got to say, after doing this, I don't feel right now I need to be right. I just need to be loved.
And it's the ego that all what you had said before about thinking that you could do it better. The ego thinks that it can do things better.
Oh, always. I'm superior. I'm right. You're wrong. You're a jerk, or whatever it needs to. None of that comes from the heart.
Right.
So it asked me the question number 15. I release from my consciousness all feelings of anger, sadness, outrage, fury, and shame. Yeah, I'm going to release all of them. I'm writing them down here again. You write them down again. Anger, sadness, outrageousness, outrage, fury, and shame. I release from my consciousness out loud to you and publicly all my feelings of anger, sadness, outrage, fury, and shame.
Yeah. Because what is shame to you?
Oh, shame is that I am flawed. There is something wrong with me, and I've got to prove that I'm valuable. And I would say that Trump probably brought that up a lot in me, because that's what I see in him. I see a man who feels that he needs to prove his value constantly, because he doesn't feel much love for himself. He feels flawed, and that's why he makes fun of people with disabilities and stuff like that, because he doesn't feel perfect. But yeah, absolutely, that's what that comes from. Most definitely. That's most definitely. Okay, the story in box 1 was your victim story, based in the old paradigm of reality, victim consciousness. Now attempt a different perception of the same event, a reframe, from your new empowered position, based on the insights you have experienced as you have proceeded through this worksheet. I now realize that.
Yeah. So this is retelling your story. This is the new story.
This is a reframing of the story. I now realize that I am powerful, I am loving, and that I am grateful to have this life force energy in me to guide myself and others through this storm. And I now realize that this whole event, including the fact that Trump is running the country during this Trump, is really there for us to be able to see. And I think what you said a while ago about being able to see our egos, being able to to confront our egos and confront our fear. And I now realize that all of this, including his leadership and his and the way he's leading, is even providing maybe even a bigger opportunity than we would necessarily need. It's the
Yes.
size we need in order
Mhm.
for us to have the courage to face our egos and
Yes.
basically bring them into control. I don't like the idea of the death of the ego so
Mhm.
much. I like the death. I think of it more as learning to love the ego, because
Mhm.
I find that the egoic mind is a wonderful servant. We need
Yes.
the egoic mind. We need the ability to compare, right, what we believe is wrong. We need all these things. It's not that. It's who's running the show, who's
Right.
driving the bus. So as a contemplative and as a person that does shadow work, I want my heart to run the show. So now I'm realizing that for me, this has been an opportunity to open up my heart to the truth of who I am and where my power is.
Yes.
I get my power back. And because of all of this going on right now, and especially because he's the leader of it,
Mhm.
I know how to get my power back. I know where my power is. And that power is in my heart. It's in that creative genius within me, that divine place I call joy. And that's powerful. And that's how I'm seeing this now. At this point in this conversation, is because I'm now realizing just how necessary it is to have people really running the country who are drunk on power. Because drunk on power, I've been drunk on power, and it's not pretty and not very. It's dangerous. Quite frankly, it's dangerous, and people are going to die because people are drunk on power. But the reality is that that's what it is. They're drunk, and and now I'm awake. I'm not drunk. I was drunk, and now I'm not. So,
But I mean, you can really look at Trump as such a gift
yeah,
to not just the country, but the world right now as we're going through this, to really just
right.
prompt those feelings with inside ourselves of who do we want to be? Do we want to be?
I mean, when you think
Where do we
about,
want to lead our life? Do we want to lead it from the ego? Or do we want to lead it from the heart? And his ego is so strong that it produces those feelings and emotions from us, which is great.
because then we can look at them.
Yeah, we can talk about it, we can observe them, and we can, because anything that we feel is negative is a lesson, and he's so big that he's the big lesson for this time right now, and I feel so grateful for him right now.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? Crazy? When you begin to actually unpack the story and reframe it into from a heart position versus an ego position, that's exactly what this is all about. Number 17, I completely forgive myself, Martin, and accept myself as a loving, generous, and creative being.
Mhm.
I release all need to hold on to emotions and ideas of lack and limitation connected to the past. I withdraw my energy from the past and release all barriers against the love and abundance that I know I have at this moment. I create my life, and I'm empowered to be myself again, to unconditionally love and support myself, just the way I am in all my magnificence.
Mhm.
I now surrender to the higher power I think of as God. Sometimes I call her joy, the divine spirit within me, and trust in the knowledge that this situation will continue to unfold perfectly and in accordance with divine guidance and spiritual law. I acknowledge my oneness and feel myself totally reconnected to my source. I am restored to my true nature, which is love, and I now restore love to Trump.
Mhm.
I close my eyes in order to feel the love that flows in my life and to feel the joy that comes when the love is felt and expressed. So I'm just going to take a second, and I'm
Yeah.
going to use this powerful, powerful moment to really feel into the love and the openness that's in my heart right now. And like you said a while ago, my gratitude and appreciation for Trump is unimaginable.
Yeah. What a lesson he's teaching us all.
lesson he's teaching us, and oh my God, I sure wouldn't want to have his role in this play.
Yeah, but he has think about what an important role he has.
Oh my God. Such an important role. And particularly as we're going through this tremendous evolution of humankind.
Yeah, and he chose that role.
He did choose that role.
So bless him for that.
Yeah, he chose it. God bless him for that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
Number 19, a note of appreciation and gratitude to you, Trump. Having done this worksheet, I now realize just what an important role you're playing in the evolution of my soul and the soul of all humanity. So thank you. I completely forgive you, Trump. For I now realize that you did nothing wrong and everything is in divine order. I bless you for being willing to play a part in my awakening. Thank you. And honor myself for being willing to play a part in your awakening. I acknowledge and accept you just the way you are.
Yeah.
Wow. It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how you're feeling, Courtney, but I'm certainly feeling at a higher vibration than when I started the conversation with you a while ago, when I was feeling excited.
Great.
Yeah. Wow. I hope that the people who are viewing and people who may get to view this later will learn this powerful process, the power of transformation. And would it be really cool if we could start a movement, call it the forgiveness project or the forgiveness movement. And as we're all in what someone said the other day so beautifully, we're all in this ark together. We're all in Noah's Ark, if you will. And we are moving to a higher level of consciousness. And how you started this out with that reading. Why don't we close with that? Why don't you go pull that piece up again? And now that we've gone through the forgiveness process with me, let's go back and reread it and just see exactly if our attention to it and understanding of it is somewhat different.
Yeah. It seems that most people need to experience a great deal of suffering before they will relinquish resistance and accept, before they will forgive. As soon as they do, one of the greatest miracles happen. The awakening of being consciousness through what appears as evil, the transmutation of suffering into inner peace. The ultimate effect of all the evil and suffering in the world is that it will force humans into realizing who they are beyond name and form. Thus, what we perceive as evil from our limited perspective is actually part of the higher good that has no opposite. This, however, does not become true for you except through forgiveness. Until that happens, evil has not been redeemed and therefore remains evil. Through forgiveness, which essentially means recognizing the insubstantiality of the past and allowing the present moment to be as it is, the miracle of transformation happens not only within, but also without. A silent space of intense presence arises both in you and around you. Whoever or whatever enters that field of consciousness will be affected by it, sometimes visibly and immediately, sometimes at deeper levels with visible changes appearing at a later time. You dissolve discord, heal pain, dispel unconsciousness without doing anything, simply by being and holding that frequency of intense presence. Yeah, and I will post a link to this.
Yeah. Wow. I want to thank you, Courtney, so much for your wonderful facilitation of this today and your big open heart. And I'm going to get a little emotional. I'm just so grateful for you and our friendship and our partnership and what we're doing. And every time I have a chance to work with you and get to know you, I just feel deeper love and appreciation for you. So thank you so much for that.
I do as well. Yeah, I know. I feel like I want to cry right now.
I do too. I want to cry. And that's good.
I just feel so much love for Trump right now. I really do.
That's right. Tears and grief and sadness are the gateway to the heart. So that would make we've opened up our hearts today with each other, and hopefully for the people who are watching and will watch the replay, because that's what it's all about, is looking
Thank you
for ways to open the heart.
Yeah, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing this.
My pleasure. Take care. Goodbye, everybody, and thank you.
Mhm.